All right, Holly, thank you very much. 31 minutes past the hour. There you see his photo. I was hoping they would rock it old school. Of course, we're rocking a little Sweet Home Alabama. Remember last week we had a little debate, Eric. Which PGA Tour players need to be buying tickets for the BCS Championship game? I mentioned his name, of course, Dicky Pride. And by the way, one of the most exuberant celebrations of making a putt in my lifetime on the PGA Tour, Dicky Pride, Memphis. You absolutely went. Oh, yeah, it was fun. It's great seeing you.
Thank you.
Good to have you in.
Have you gone more nuts when you made that putt or watching in your living room in Alabama when you take down Auburn or you won the national championship or you found out Nick Saban was coming to town or whatever?
Well, I'm a little different when I watch football than I am on the golf course. I lose my mind watching Alabama football. But that celebration was as close to as I've ever been to insane because I thought I left the putt short and then it went in. And
it's one of the great moments, really, truly, that I've seen in 25 or 30 years on the PGA Tour. You were here to not only talk about the game, but to talk about something, how the game can give back.
Absolutely.
And this is very important. And, you know, when this thing happened, you know, Eric and I, we sit there and we look at this stuff and you go, oh, my gosh. It really looks like a bomb had gone off in Tuscaloosa, which is home for you. It's not just because you went to school there. That is home. How is the game of golf, and you were teaming with some other PGA Tour players, putting on an event the beginning of October to try to make some right for what was a natural disaster that just did utter devastation?
Absolutely. On October 10th, we're having a Pro-Am in Tuscaloosa, Alabama at Indian Hills Country Club, which is where I grew up. And Jason Bone, who was one of my college teammates at Alabama, and Kevin,
who left you because he made $1 million when he made a hole-in-one.
No, I recruited him and left him.
Oh, okay.
My fifth year was his freshman year, and then the next year he made the hole-in, which I was there for, I might add. And Kevin Streelman, whose wife Courtney is from Tuscaloosa, and we are working to have a Pro-Am in Tuscaloosa to raise money for the tornado relief. It was a devastating blow. We had a tornado, F5, 260-mile-per-hour winds, stayed on the ground 177 miles. It was 1.5 miles wide when it went through Tuscaloosa. I was watching it on my iPad. I was in Arkansas with my wife, and my father-in-law had just passed away. And I saw intersections of towns, and they told me what it was, and I couldn't recognize them because they didn't have the buildings there. My mom, my sister, my aunt and uncle, first cousin, a bunch of relatives were there. I was texting and calling back and forth. Very scary moment. But fortunately for me, I didn't lose anyone in my family. We had about 50 deaths in the Tuscaloosa area, and we got 12% of the city was wiped out. I mean, literally just gone. I mean, you saw the pictures. It looks like that all over the place. So we're working on it, and we've gotten a lot of support from a lot of players. We've got 18 guys committed. Webb Simpson's playing with us, Brian Gay, Steve Marino. Bunch of guys stepped up and said, we're going to help. Jason Duffner has been unbelievable. Jason's bringing a team. He said, I'm going to play and I'm going to bring a team. We're like, we're acceptable to those terms. Come on.
A good Auburn guy doing that, and that's when the lines are no longer, you know, there is no line.
No.
You mentioned Brian Gay's a Florida guy, and Kevin and obviously his wife Courtney.
But Brian's from Daleville, Alabama. You must remember this.
Yes,
Brian and I have been playing against each other since we were, you know, this big. As big as my son, so it's kind of interesting. But yeah, so we're going to bring it together, and we're going to try to raise a bunch of money, and Coach Mal Moore, the athletic director of Alabama, is helping us out. We've got some great things for auction. Coach Saban, Coach Grant, the basketball team. They're all, I mean, everyone's coming together.
How can we help from here? Or if I'm watching at home, how can I chip in?
Just like the bag says, go to givetuscaloosa.com/golf. It'll give you all the information. You can donate. You can come play with us. We'd love to have you in Tuscaloosa. If you want to come see a football game, the 8th, which is the Saturday before, is our homecoming against Vanderbilt. So
of course it is.
And of course, that's why we're trying to get Brant Snedeker.
I've checked our schedule. Gary and I are available, just in case.
Well, come on. We'd love to have you. I'll put you on my team. You'll never want to play golf again.
If we play in your team during there, am I going to see what kind of putter am I going to see in your bag?
You're going to see TP Mills, short putter, not a belly putter. I've tried.
Yeah.
It's never worked for me, but I'm more of a...
Tempted to go back and try again, given the success everybody seems to be having these days?
Yeah, absolutely. I have 2 of them in my garage. I've tried them. For me, and it's one of the things that's interesting for me with Phil trying it is, with the thing anchored at your stomach, it has to go open when it goes through because it's anchored, so it has to come up. And Phil and I both kind of putted like Ben Crenshaw, which is an open and closed type of stroke. I mean, that's who I idolized. I mean, I won with an 88.02. There's a reason. Phil was the same way. I was surprised to see him with that because it's such a different motion than we grew up with.
Would you ban it? If you were in charge of the PGA Tour and it was only up to you and you could just make that decision unilaterally, would you ban them?
I would ban them for personal reasons because I can't.
You don't want to compete against them.
No, I would not ban it.
Dicky, let me ask you, you mentioned Webb Simpson's name. You know, when you're in college, the college experience was virtually, unchanged. I mean, kids go to college, they have a great time, they get an education. It's kind of de facto independence for the first time in their life. When you see young kids today on the Nationwide Tour and the PGA Tour, what is the biggest difference between the young, just out of college PGA Tour player today as opposed to when you came out on tour?
Oh, they just know they're ready to win, flat out. And I think the conditioning's a big thing. My golf coach, Dick Spivey, made us go in my first year at 5:30 and work out, and no one else did it. And now you go to the fitness trail on the PGA Tour, and as a 42-year-old man, it's very humbling to see these 24-year-olds in there because they can do a lot more than I can now. But that's the way it is. The biggest thing is the fitness, and they're prepared.
All right, you came in wearing crimson, and you have a little wager you would like with EK.
Yes, we do.
Next year, my Michigan Wolverines will take on your Alabama Crimson Tide in Cowboy Stadium, Dallas,
Yes.
Texas.
Yes, they will.
So
Tuscaloosa West is what it's going to be.
Yeah, of
They
course.
will rock the crimson.
Yeah.
Well, I think the last time we played him, y'all had some guy, what was that guy? Brady. How did he end up? Did he turn out okay?
Yeah, he did okay.
Yeah,
He
I
played
think so.
great in that Orange Bowl.
Who won that game? I don't remember.
I remember quite well.
Brady to David Terrell about 100 times that night.
Exactly, and it was very humbling, but that's the way it goes. I think, we should have recruited him.
I just put it on my Twitter, what we should wager, but our interim wager and what we're going to wager is you'll put a Michigan Wolverine head cover on for a week.
That's correct.
If Michigan covers the spread, and if they do not, we will find something for Big Al in the studio, place of prominence.
I appreciate that place of prominence.
I'm not just gonna
sure.
no. If we don't get, I'm not going to hide him in the corner.
That's what I want to hear.
And I
mean,
get in place of prominence.
being from Alabama, we've got some obnoxious stuff. Now, we're not Chris DeMarco and Gators. I mean, that's over the line. But we all got to have our...
Fair enough.
we got to have our point. And I really like jabbing DeMarco.
All right, one more time for those folks who want to make an impact, whether it's going to the event or just contributing.
www.givetuscaloosa.com/golf. And if you can't get anything there, email me, dickypride@gmail.com. I'll send you all the information.
Fair enough.
Dicky, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Hope it's a great event. Charlie
Thanks so
Reimer
much.
is going to be there to MC the event.
And we're making him play. Cannot wait.
Now that will be comedy.
I know.
All right, when we come back, folks, little draft. That's right, the KLM Open. Very good field. McIlroy on the board. Not for long. And also our back nine poll question, most surprising year. We will debate that. We've allowed you to weigh in all morning long. Is it the guy who's now in charge of the FedEx Cup with respect to being number one, Webb Simpson? It could be somebody else. It could be Keegan Bradley. Text all those responses to 55333. We will weigh in. Coming up next, it's Morning Drive Live, Golf Channel.